Guys, it's Vicky. Over the last few months I've been really trying to live a more minimal lifestyle when it comes to what I own and my collections and things, especially obviously my makeup beauty collections. I did declutter a lot of my stuff, as I mentioned in previous videos, and got rid of about 50% of my makeup. There are just some things when I was decluttering my stuff that I just could not let go, and in fact there was a lot of stuff. Do you ever make purchases and then when you think to yourself, oh, you know, I have it, but do I really use it? Do I really need it? And then you have a memory attached to it? That was kind of what I was going through. So I thought I would do this series on my channel showing you products that I just couldn't let go of. Good reasons why I couldn't get rid of them, and I just thought I would share them with you. If you like this kind of video, then let me know down below, and also let me know some of the products, because I just think it will be quite interesting to see what products you yourself just cannot get rid of in terms of your makeup collection. So I would love to know down below, and also if you have some of the stuff I mentioned in these videos, let me know as well, and why you think you can't get rid of it, or why would you get rid of it. The first product, which I will never get rid of, I don't think, has been this one, and it's the Kat Von D. Oh, I nearly dropped it, guys. Oh my gosh, did you see my face? The Kat Von D Mi Vida Loca palette. Can we just clear up the elephant in the room right now? Yes, I know Kat Von D has a lot of like controversy going on right now with her some of her beliefs and actions. I don't necessarily agree with her choices, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, she is pregnant at the moment and she has chosen not to vaccinate her child, but then a lot of people have decided to boycott her because of this, and I don't really buy a lot of Kat Von D products anymore anyway, so for me to boycott is quite like a I'm not really going to do that. I'm also not going to get rid of the stuff I have. I did pay for this stuff and I'm not just going to get rid of it. But the reason I'm definitely not getting rid of this palette is because this, I just love the artwork on this. This is such a unique palette. The artwork is beautiful. I've kept all the packaging safe. She created all the artwork on this. I just think it looks beautiful. So I love the front, love the back as well. Oh, it just looks so pretty. I just love it. The palette itself comes out like so, and as you can see, it just looks so great. It's like a color wheel. I actually didn't really use it that much because I was just like, I just want to keep it pristine and everything, but it was actually quite a good palette as well. And this is one of the reasons why I never bought her 10-year anniversary palette. A lot of the colors in that palette was similar to the colors in this palette, so I just didn't go for it really, and I just thought, yeah, I've already got this one. And I know a lot of people wanted this palette when it first came out, and it sold out so quickly. I'm not even lying, guys. I had people send me offers to buy this palette from me, and I nearly sold it to someone that was my friend back then, and I'm so glad I never sold this palette in the end. It's because this is a special one. This is definitely a unique palette out there, and despite what I may feel towards Kat Von D because of her choices, or what you may feel towards her, at the end of the day, I mean, this is something I purchased before all of that, and I'm not going to get rid of it. Another palette I'm not getting rid of, it has to be my Lorac Pro palette. Guys, look how messy and used this palette is. This actually gives me a lot of satisfaction, because sometimes with like my palettes like you've just seen, they don't look used at all. They look so clean, pristine, and it's just like, girl, you spent so much money on that and you don't even use it. Whereas this one, I did spend a lot of money on it, but you can see I made good use of it. I actually hit pan on this palette as well, like it's so good. The reason I'm not decluttering this palette is, even though it's an older palette of mine, one of my older palettes, this was the first American beauty product that I bought from abroad, if that makes sense. Like, so I didn't go to America to buy this, but I actually ordered this online and shipped it from America, and this was the beginning of the end for me in terms of shipping from America. All those customs and all of that, this is where it all started. Maybe I should declutter it. This palette started it all, basically. In terms of getting into like buying products and online from America and stuff, yeah, this is where it started. So maybe I shouldn't love it as much, and it just brings me back to memories which are quite great. Like, one of my most popular videos was me using this palette and reviewing this palette and comparing it to like I think a Makeup Revolution palette as well. And as you can tell, I love shades Taupe and Sable so much. I really should bring it back out again and continue to use it, but it cost a lot of money to get it over here because I paid so much for it. And this was back in the day when I didn't really have a lot of makeup, especially not a lot of high-end makeup back then when I purchased this. So the one I did have, I just really used it, and because this was from America, I was just like, I'm getting my use out of this one. I'm definitely gonna keep reaching for this palette, and you never know, I might actually finish an eyeshadow. Another palette which I wanted to talk about is the Naked Urban Decay eyeshadow palette. Now this one, unlike the Lorac palette, is very pristine, hardly has any marks on it. I just kept this so clean. I don't even know how I did this. Actually I do. So when I open this up, you actually are going to be like, girl, what were you doing? It really does not speak to me. I hang my head in shame. This was the first high-end palette that I bought, and this was many years ago. And I remember picking this up with one of my first paychecks from my new teaching job. I was getting into makeup a lot, but all my makeup was like drugstore makeup, and I was really against buying high-end makeup because I used to be like, what's the point of high-end makeup? And strolled into Debenhams and I saw the Urban Decay palette. I think it was in Debenhams. I saw the palette and I was just like, okay, I'm gonna give this high-end makeup life a try. And I did, and as you can tell, I wasn't as impressed with this palette as everybody else was. I think I have some shades in here which are not even touched, guys. This was everybody's gate into makeup, or like a higher end palette, if that makes sense, because I feel like everybody bought the Urban Decay Naked palette at one point. I see so many people that have hit pan on this, whereas mine is like pristine and I've had it for years. I think it was just simply because a lot of these shades just did not work for me, even back then when I probably didn't really know how to apply makeup. I knew that having these two matte shades in here just were not going to work for me. I did like some of the more shimmery shades like Smog, although now I've got Smog in the Urban Decay Born to Run palette. Like, they're still really good shadows. You can see that this is so brand new because the brush still has the plastic packaging on it. I didn't even take the plastic packaging off the brush. Wow, okay. I think I actually just bought this to look at and say I've got a high-end palette, because I don't know why I ended up picking this palette out, but I won't get rid of it because it gives me memories of back in the day when I was at work, me starting my whole makeup collection with more expensive items, and this was the first expensive item I bought. Urban Decay Naked palette literally opened doors into my world of high-end palettes, and I was just like, I bought that one. Yeah, I definitely can go on and buy other high-end palettes. And the next palette I'm going to talk about is the Vizia palette, and this is the Vizia Dark Matte palette. Now, I bought this palette because it was recommended on YouTube so often and everyone was talking about the quality of the Vizia palettes that I was just like, okay, I'm gonna get it. I'm going to get this palette and I'm gonna try it out and I'm gonna keep it, I'm gonna use it, and I'm gonna make sure that I don't buy any other palette. This was like the first palette that I bought where I really deceived myself into thinking that this was it for me. This was the palette I was going to get, and I did not need any other high-end palette ever again. Yeah, this was the one I thought would do that for me, but quite clearly did nothing for me. I actually used this palette quite a bit, believe it or not. I did, and I really liked this palette. I do like the Vizia palettes, but I just can't get with the fact that they're so expensive. And I will never declutter this because, first of all, this palette was, how much are they? £64? Quote Kathleen Lights, that's expensive. I'm not ready to part ways with these. I actually think I ended up picking this up on sale. That's part of the reason why I'll never get rid of it, because like it was a good sale. I think I ended up picking it up for like 40 something pounds, which is still expensive. You know something is expensive when the sale price is still expensive and you're excited about it. This was a recommendation. I think this was Tara Baby. Is her name Tara Babies? I used to watch her all the time, and I think the Fancy Face as well, I think. used to recommend this palette, I think, but definitely Tara Babies or Tara Babies. She recommended this palette a lot, and I just was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. This wasn't yesterday, this was a while back, okay? You know, when I was a bit more naive. This just brings back memories of those back to YouTube days when everyone just used to do haul videos and everything was just simple on YouTube. And that's why I actually still like Tara Babies, because she just does her haul, she does her own thing, and she's not out there for any like gain in that sense. She just loves makeup, and it just reminds me of those days on YouTube. And I just, yeah, I don't know, I can never get rid of it. The reason I'm not getting rid of this one is because this was one of the first times where I got into those, do you know the craze that we all used to get into in makeup? I'm sure people still do it nowadays, but I personally don't do it anymore. Where we know and anticipate the release of an item. We know when it is going to be released, so we literally sit at the computer waiting for the item so you can quickly get it before everybody else, before it sells out in like 10 minutes or so. But this was one of those palettes that got me doing that. I look at this and I'm just thinking to myself, girl, do you know what you could have bought with the money you paid for this one? So this is one of 3 Tom Ford products I have. I know 3. I don't know who I think I am or where I think I'm going, but yes, anyway. Because it's Tom Ford, it's still in its packaging, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, this is the number 4 Honeymoon palette, and oh my gosh, this was a chore to get my hands on, but I will never give it up. I will never declutter it or sell it or whatever, because it just reminds me of my excitement for makeup back then. I actually ended up buying 2 of these Tom Ford palettes, and then luckily, don't ask me why I thought I would need a backup. Where did I think I was going? I thought I needed a backup of Tom Ford. Do you know when you just go to certain heights that you should not be reaching at certain times in your life? Yeah, I went to that level, and luckily one of my friends back then wanted it, so I sold it to her in the end. It comes in a little pouch like this, and then it says Tom Ford there, and then you take it out of the pouch. Can you see how often I have not used this palette? Like, look how shiny it is. Where are the fingerprints? Hardly any fingerprints on this. A brand new Tom Ford palette. All I've done is literally like swatch the tiniest corner of each of these shadows, because I was like, this is Tom Ford. Where do I think I'm going using Tom Ford eyeshadows? This was one of my most bougiest purchases, and it just makes me laugh and cringe at the same time, that I just think, no, I'm just keeping this. This is like the only Tom Ford eyeshadow palette I have or probably will ever buy. It was one that was a struggle to get. I spent so much money on it. Never really bought into luxury items before. Everything else, like more high-end prices, this was, you know, luxury. Just like my Urban Decay Naked palette, it still has the plastic packaging on there, because that's how I roll. And you know what, I've seen reviews on this, and the annoying thing is it's not even that great a palette, but it's so pretty to look at. I think I just had more money than sense, and the funny thing is I didn't even have all this money to be spending. There's times in your life where you just go a bit crazy. Yeah, I think that's what was happening with some of these purchases. Okay guys, so that was that. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I was really honest in this video. Obviously some of these purchases were literally just a waste of money, I can admit that, but at the same time it is a collection. I love to collect makeup. I know some people just don't really understand that concept, but at the same time I do know that I had to get rid of a lot of stuff, but there was just some things I had to keep my hands on. So let me know what you have refused to declutter in your own collection, and have you got any of the items I mentioned here today? What do you think about them? Have you decluttered them in the past? Will you ever declutter them? Thanks so much for watching guys. I will see you very soon in my next video. Take care, bye!